is a very busy girl. I put it out there. I just emailed the silvers and above, and I said I want to host these silver interviews. I wasn't sure if anyone would say yes, but luckily some said yes. And Kamanu is one of the first ones that you guys are going to be seeing that isn't one of my direct qualifiers. So we have 10 silvers on our team. November is going to be our first series of silver interviews. And then I'm gonna host another one in January as we kick off the year. And so I'm really excited that Kamanu said yes. Kamanu is our newest silver on our team, and she is one of Aiko's leaders. So I am stoked that you said yes and that you're here. And yeah, do you want to kind of introduce yourself? Because not everyone knows you. And I'm just happy that they're here because I want to get to know you. So who is Kamanu?
Hi. I don't really know a lot of people because unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, fortunately, I do have a lot of things going on in life, and I guess that's the only way I function is to be like extra busy. If I if I'm just like full-time job busy, I don't know what to do with myself and I add something. And so I haven't really been able to always be present at the meetings, but I do listen to recordings when I can, and I do what, for me, I know you guys know the rank chart, how to get up, and it says, oh, if you want to be silver in this amount of time, commit 20 hours a week kind of deal. So for me, off the bat, I had to admit to myself and my upline Aiko that I could only ever put 10 hours in a week, because that was the only way I was going to function, and it was going to be the only way that I could still do like all these random things, legal and not, almost not legal, but still good things, I promise. Still good for the world, and happy things. And so, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, thank you. If you guys were here for Aiko's interview on Tuesday, she shared that her first class was Kamanu and Charity and Jamie Okada, and then she enrolled you guys. How long ago was that?
Was that like 3 years ago, I think, Charity? So at that charity, RJ, myself, Aiko, and Jamie, I talk about this. Oh, 3.5. Thanks, Aiko. I talk about this often to my downlines. I was super hungover at that meeting. I like recently moved back from Hilo, and I was reconnecting with my family and my friends, and I happened to, like how I said, I plan things, right? And so I happened to plan drinking with my cousins the night before, and I didn't think it was going to get out of hand. I don't know why I thought that. I thought like I was going to see them and stop. And anyway, long story short, when we had to meet Aiko, I knew Jamie, my college roomie, and Bessie was going to be there, so I didn't really think I had to put on a face for anybody. But when we had to meet there, I could barely drive there. I was like, holy smokes, this is a mess. And I thought we were going to go eat, like real, not real food, but like hearty food, like, like hangover food, like burgers and whatever else. But I had like avocado toast. And it was super good, but I was dying. And Aiko ended up giving peppermint beadlets at that time. I did mention, I think everybody there remembers that I was having a hard time, and she gave it, and she's like, "Oh, I heard this helps with hangovers," and I was like, "Yeah, just give it to me, whatever, I'll take it." Like I'm gonna pass out, and so I took it as like time was healing. The avocado sandwich, the healthy food was making its way into my system. These nice people were here. Everything was going well. By the end of that meeting, I enrolled. I was sold, 100% sold. So that's like my non-conventional way to get to using oil.
Okay, that's hilarious. And also Charity said that she was hungover. So Charity and Kamanu were hungover at this Arvo breakfast with this fancy toast where they wanted burgers. But Aiko got them. So we've noted that hungover people are the best.
Yeah. I also I remember she asked if we wanted to be customers or advocates. And I was like, well, I don't mind. Like, I really would have bought a house that day. to just get things moving, you know, like it was just like, sure, whatever you say, let me just sign. And so I was like, if I make money, great, whatever. Like I didn't really know what I was getting into when I said yes to off the bat becoming a wellness advocate.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Well, I do want to say that, you know, you were one of the, you, Aiko Charity, like you guys were some of the first builders on our entire team. And, you know, even though you were busy or you are busy currently and you have so much on your plate, I've always felt like you've been connected. And like, I felt, you know, like you come over, we've done classes, we've seen each other at events. And so Kamanu is like one of the sweetest. So you probably want to be friends with her and hope that you see her at one of the events. But it's been really nice to see you grow as one of your uplines and love that you have that relationship with Michael. Um, so, how long have you been doing the business side?
From that day. Because then what happened was like I was sold. I got home and I was like, this guys, I was like, oh, it's time for me to do something because that I'm child size for those of you who have not met me in person. I'm not quite 5 feet. And I blame my mom because she gave me toxins. She gave me powdered milk as a child instead of whole milk. There was no nutritional value. And she knows every time I get drunk, I blame her. She knows this, so we're good. But, and I don't only get drunk, I promise, just like for the record. But anyway, on accident, I posted on Instagram. Like, I mean, I was excited. I was really excited when I got my products and I posted it. I was like, oh, what is this? And off the bat, my first enrollment came in as a wellness advocate. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, Aiko, help, because I remember you talked about this, but I was sort of listening and I didn't really absorb everything. And now what? And so she walked me through how to get that enrollment in. And then at that time, I don't even think they offer it now. There was the pre-elite classes and Aiko got me on that. And for me, I need that consistency and that somebody to check in, even though I can't really show up all the time. It was perfect for me at, oh yeah, Prely is the business training. It was perfect for me at the time because it was week by week homework and it was like an 8 or 12 week program. And Aiko was like, hey, we're gonna run through this, and then when your homework is done, we'll have our next meeting. And we just moved. And so it rolled in that way. And then with Charity on our team, it kind of rolled into becoming an elite fast, like within the time they predict. I think it's, is it 90 days or something? And I was like, oh, I did that. Like, what? And I didn't know what to do because I still couldn't keep up with how fast it was going on the side of, I think at that time, so I had right when around when I met up with Aiko guys, I moved back here to Honolulu from Hilo. I was living in Hilo for 6 years. I had bought a house there and was never planning on moving back here, but the opportunity hit. And within that month, I sold my house, my first house that I bought. And I moved in with my parents who were renting at Kapilina, which is like this old military style housing that's redone. They say it's for locals, but it's still super military. I mean, I love military. My boyfriend's military, but you know, like the non people from here kind military. And it was really, really pricey. And they had to renew their lease, their yearly lease, in 4 months. And I accidentally stumbled upon a realtor and I was like, look, I have 4 months. You have, if you want to do this, like challenge accepted, let's go. Cause I don't want to have to live in this house again. And we did that. And so it's all happening around the same time where I was like, oh my God. And that was my why. My why was to get my parents out of that home into a home that was ADA, that I could take care of them. I happen to be their only child, which is, if you don't have kids yet, or if you only have one, make another one, adopt somebody, have a pet or something, because I'm the only one that gets to wipe both of my parents' butts when we get older. I'm the only one that gets to do all that not so fun things, and I love them to pieces. But it from the time I was in my early 20s going into OT school, it was always a long-term plan that I had, and running through elite that fast helped me do that. I moved us into this house 2.5 years ago. Um, and my dad helps me with mortgage because this house is 3 times the amount that it would cost me to own my house in Hilo, and it's a quarter of the size. But I felt very spoiled living in Hilo now that I look at it. Um, Cause guys, I had county water and I had 3 bedrooms and a paved road and like a street light in front of my house, even though I lived in Mountain View, and it was a 1 acre property. And over here, we definitely have street lights and paved roads and repaved, and the property is like this. And I can hear my neighbors, and I know they can hear me because I'm deaf. Oh yeah, that too, by the way. Um, Not that that matters, but I'm hard of hearing, and so that's always something that I have to compensate when I'm learning. I should always have my hearing aids in, but they're in my purse because they do better in there for me. They help me learn knowing that I have them. That was a tangent. I don't know why I went that way, but yeah. So I had to power through that, and then when I for me that was my why, hitting elite, and then I kind of got stuck because I had reached my why. And like Brittany was saying, as although I did update my why, like it became okay. I want to be the one to be the only person paying mortgage. I want to pay down the loan so that I can eventually have a family. There's all this possible whys, but nothing really was pulling me the way that that original why pulled me. Because that one to me was so meaningful. And so it took me a long time to go up and down with my whys, because you could see, I don't know, maybe Aiko could see, like today my why is gonna be that I'm gonna pay the mortgage, and this month I do great, and then it's like fell short, and then it stayed there till I rediscovered my new why, and then it went up again, and it was still, yeah, the whole way through. So that was really important, but um, all the while I was also kind of discovering to be confident in myself and believe in myself, because I feel like I had a really, and not to brag, but I feel like I had a really solid life. Like in high school, I went to an immersion. I didn't know how to read English, and I got into Kamanu even though I didn't know how to read English. And I was in remedial reading because I couldn't spell risk versus risk, like random things that I didn't know how to do. And I was like, wow, that was cool. Like, check. After Kamehameha got into college, like, check, just kind of check off those boxes. Same when I went into what my now, what do you call that, career is as an occupational therapist. It was a check. Um, I guess sort of same with my ex-husband, because I was like so naive back then, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, and I thought that love was going to win everything, and I got married to like my first college sweetheart. I still love him as a person, but I am so glad he's somebody else's husband. I wish them the best, and we're just not meant for each other because we weren't aligning anymore. um, when they say that tragic things happen. um, so yeah, I guess I didn't tell a lot of people that I was married. He was the guy that tells you who you want him to be. So when you answer like, oh, you want this or this, he's really good at guessing that I wanted something. So he would go with that answer, but that's not who he was. But then what happened is when it came down to we lost our son, he was stillborn. Then the truth came out. There's just no way that he could have been anybody else but himself at that point. And I loved him for who he was, but he didn't love himself for who he was. And so I was exhausted. I was overly exhausted with having to bear his burden, his weight, um, and not having time to, problem solve what just happened to me. Not that it didn't happen to him, but my body, because I could feel my son kicking. and then I couldn't, you know. It's like you guys are moms, you know what it's like, but except he didn't. I didn't get to like bring him home, which in hindsight is the best thing that happened because I personally get an angel. And we just celebrated his 10th birthday in August, and my ex-husband got to come. He came, he brought his parents, and we went out and we went paddleboarding and we threw flowers. Aiko was able to provide the flowers for me. So like it's all just beautiful, right? How we're all still connected. So that happens, right? You have to reinvent yourself because then I became in that relationship. I was the person who accommodated. I didn't know who I was. I was with him for 10 years. And so it was like, oh, do I really like, what is he? Do I really like pizza that much? Like, yeah, I like pizza, but if I were to go out and pick a restaurant and not have to choose what he would like, would that still be something that I would pick first? And so it was reinventing myself. Same reinventing myself in Hilo. And then ex boyfriend, that story, that's not even worth mentioning. But at least it was what I needed to go through in that time of my life. Now, flash forward, when I did arrive here, it all just happened so smoothly where I yet again have to reinvent myself. And this time I thought, how am I going to reinvent myself as a single person when my roommates are literally my parents? And we actually get along. Like we like hanging out, we drink together, we are sarcastic to each other, you know, like who is going to put up with this group of people? Like nobody. So I think Charity and Aiko, we went to our elite lunch, brunch, something at Tommy Bahama. And I think I was joking with you guys, like I was just gonna check off the list of guys I had to date before I was ready to settle down because I tried like this dating app thing. and and it's not because I didn't ever think that I'm somebody that would ever go on a dating app, but it was really fun because I got to meet people and I got to see why he became the man that he is today. On Friday, over free dinner. And then on Saturday for drinks, I got to meet another guy who told me exactly why he became who he wanted to be and or why he was reinventing himself for the 10th time. And I didn't do anything like scandalous, I promise. But not all the time. But anyway, it was fun to meet people because through meeting people, I met myself. I met who I was comfortable being, and who I was proud to be. And then I met my boyfriend. Online dating, by the way. We've been together for about 2 years now, but this whole time was all through my process of becoming silver. It was to find out who I was because the whole time I always thought my name is Kamanu. It means the shy or fiery bird. And when I was named Anakalalale, who is one of the founders for Hawaiian language in Punanaleo, not overall, but he asked my auntie, "Are you sure you're gonna name her that? Because that sounds like left and right. It sounds very disconnected. She's gonna come out funny kind, because if you're not Hawaiian, you often become the personality that you were named." And my auntie was like, "Yeah, you know, that name came to me for all these different reasons, so we just have to stick to it." And so I always had this internal battle. For example, be super healthy, but then love mayonnaise. That's like my weirdest randomest thing. Or like, or exercise all the time, but then lie on the bed all day and watch like Christmas movies. Like I'm this, but then I'm that. And I was never comfortable with that until doTERRA, until doing the things that were homework. Like, what do you call that? Personal development. Like that, wow, that spoke to me all the while I was trying to find my why. Because I would come into walls and then I would ask like Aiko or Ashley, or once I even asked Noel, I think I was like, oh, you know, like I'm not getting in romance. I don't know what happened. It was so easy before, but I'm stuck. and I'm stuck. And they would always throw it back to personal development. I was like, yeah, I saw the book. It's sitting on my table. And they're like, read it, listen to it. I'm like, oh, but I heard it. Because you think not everything, but you think you get it. You understand where it's coming from. But I needed the consistency of personal development, the listening to the podcast 10 minutes a day, the reading whatever book that is in the I love reading when I'm supposed to. Because the first time I tried to read a diamond book on accident because I didn't see the labels, oh, that made no sense, guys. Like, no sense. I was like, what? And I put it down and I was like, okay, whatever. And then I got off the train, right? Because so easy to get off the train. And then I realized, I looked back at the list because somebody else needed it. And I was like, oh, look, there's the labels. And so then I started again, and that helped me. I put it in my calendar um, with that 10 hours a week that I'm able to dedicate to doTERRA. It's in my calendar and it's broken down by steps because I need that. And also for my sensory needs, I need to check things off. Like I need that physical in the calendar. Check, check, check. Write new ones. Check, check, check. So, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is being sober was a game changer for me, but the bigger game changer was my way to sober. Because I'm still all kind of whatever, all over the place here and there doing this, but I'm at least embracing me for me. And I somehow became, what is that Alice's mentors calls? She gives the rank of the people, like certain age, check if they get a point. If they're a certain age, they get a check if they're a female, whatever. I wasn't a 7 until I met my boyfriend. And because you have to be in a relationship with somebody who is supportive, and he wasn't, because he was all kind of full of toxins when we first met. He admits now that he put his best foot forward, but like even now I'm like, do you really make those choices? Like, you still today, you're gonna order that like supersize something from Jack in a Box with like extra this and that? And he's like, yeah. And I give him his vitamins, right? So he has his vitamins right here, his lifelong vitality that he's accepted to take. Um, and he and his girls, he has 3 daughters. They made me a 7 because if you have seen my Instagram posts, his girls are amazing, and they they help me promote. Actually, they help me promote the use of doTERRA in this house, and they help me promote doTERRA in person. So just the video I posted today, we for the first time all 3 of us smelled Northern Escape. And I was like, oh, it smells like camping. And the middle one, she's agreeable. She's going to be like, yeah, it smells like camping. And the 6-year-old is like, yeah. And she's like gagging. And she's going like this. And I posted it because it's her truth. But I like positively framed it, like maybe not for 6-year-olds who have very sensory, over responsive reactions to things, because naturally her sense of smell is really sensitive. But nobody's gonna know that unless I say it, yeah. So I was like, oh God. And then we're like roll laughing after. But they're like sort of they have a mother who loves them. But at our house, they're sort of my minis. And so with their dad cannot drink soda because they're gonna check in. Dad, did you eat your vegetables? Dad, did you take your vitamins? All things that I hope to instill in them and that they do. And same with the use of oils. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, they're doing distant learning here at my house, and I'm also working full time. And when I'm in a meeting and all they want to do is ask me if they can put Thinker on or Stronger, I'm like, just do it yourself. You don't need me. Like, you're 9, you're 6, you know which one it is, put it on, put it back, and go back to class. But this is like these life events that really brings it in for me. um, Same with laundry. Like I will tease their dad, like, hey dad, did you know that we just washed the laundry with On Guard laundry detergent and purify? Like, does it even smell a difference? He's like, feels clean. Like total milk, yeah. But that's me, because that's why I was always having a hard time finding relationship. Side note, but I'm that one who, those memes where it's like the glasses and then the construction yellow shirt and then it's like, hey honey baby or whatever. That's so my guy. um, but I also like the sensitive. But you know how long it took me to admit that? So I was looking at all the wrong faces. Like I was getting set up with, and this is no judgment on anybody's other half, but I was getting set up with like firefighters and doctors and all these great guys, but they weren't pulling me because they were missing the baby girl status. But um, I mean, I can't lie. But anyway, they made me a 7. And because when our relationship started we prayed nightly. And with what I learned from doTERRA, I started, um, in the back of my calendar, I put my yearly goals. And you know how it is when you write goals, the smarter they are, the better they are. So they're more specific and they were geared towards certain areas. So I had asked him to be a part of last year, I'd asked him to be a part of this year's goals. And he was like, whatever, he was doing it because he was in love with me, and he was just doing the yes dear thing. But what was the coolest part is, that we went through it because we're starting our goals for this coming year, and we met about 80% of it, not thinking about it. And very proud of where we've come and how, where we're going. But also, we never stressed about any of the goals. On there for me was to hit silver. And I was really anxious to write it down because I knew how stuck I was in elite and how long it took me to get to premiere because I didn't structure right. And it, waiting out the 6 months and all that jazz. And so I was like, wow, like this is kind of gutsy of me to put silver on here. This means like I'm supposed to commit 20 hours a week. Like it was really questioning myself. But he was the one. Just do it. What do you have to lose? I think they saw that in the Success Stories, the book that I'm on now, where you don't have anything to lose if you are applying to a school and you want to become this and you don't get into the school, you haven't lost anything because you're still the person you are today. Um, but if you get in, you're going to become the person that you're hoping to become. And so that together we're still all kind of whatever, we're not nearly as perfect, but we're happy. And I on my calendar, just like a spoiler alert if it matters to anybody, on my calendar for next year is to hit gold. And it's my structure is a mess, guys. But that's what I want to do. That's what he wants me to do. That's what we want as a family, because I finally, this is a long answer to an original question, but I finally I finally rediscovered my why. And for me, so then there's the growing pains, right? So yes, I bought a house for me and my two parents. Now I have a boyfriend and 2 to 3 girls, depending on, because it's two baby mamas. But details. So we always only get two. But, the house is full, and I didn't have. Although I always prayed and hoped and manifest for this family that I have, I didn't have the plans. I didn't have it in sight of how it was going to be. And so now this house is too small. The house that I dreamed of 2, 3 years ago is not we, what we envisioned. And so we have plans and we don't know which way we're going, but we pray on it because fortunately, oh yeah, maybe, oh yeah, hopefully we'll see. We're supposed to just kind of have fun and then oopsie daisies, right? But I am, I mean, I do have, what do you call that, medical stuff, but I am on lifelong vitality, and we do have blends on the feet because I don't want to put it anywhere where it's supposed to actually go, put it in the area of concern. We don't want to put it in those areas of concerns. We want to put it on our feet. So we're doing that. And we'll see. We have so many, yeah, we're still praying and manifesting. Yeah.
I love, like, that was amazing. And I love that your why kept, it changed and now you have a new why. That's awesome. And then you have someone who's supportive that's saying, go for it, go for silver, go for gold. And you have them to do it for, and you have him to do it with, right? That is awesome. Um, would you be willing to share a little bit of insight of what you have on your plate and what you do for work?
I'm sorry.
What you have on your plate and what you do for work.
Oh, okay. So, that's another thing. I switched jobs. So, occupational therapy is really fun. We're really dynamic. And I promote everybody to become occupational therapists because there's not enough of us, which is why I'm so overworked. But we work in different, oh, really, Charlie? That's why we're friends. Um, you can work in all different settings. And so when I started the job, I worked at a skilled nursing facility with elderly, and I totally fell in love. It's hard because they pass, but you get to hear everybody's stories. My favorite questions to ask them were, how did you meet the person that you're married to? What happened to you on the day that Pearl Harbor happened? Where were you? And advice for your kids, advice for us growing and all that. And they would just answer it in like the most rascalist way to the most sincere way. And I loved that. All the while, though, I had a passion to work with kids because in my extended family, we have a lot of adopted children. And because their moms tested positive for some sort of substance abuse while they were in delivering them or not, or delivering their siblings. And so in my family, I have one auntie that has 3 biological adult children, and I think it's 12 adopted. And I think it's a set of like 3 or 4 siblings. And my other auntie adopted one of the biological siblings, the baby biological sibling, to one of that cluster. And then my uncles adopted 2 brothers. And as you guys may or may not know, the effects of drug use is a real thing in utero when the child is in the mom's stomach. And so from, I think the youngest is a year and a half, and the oldest is, I think maybe he's 16 now. I'm so bad with this. Um, all their effects are different. All their personalities are different. And so that really spoke to me. And my auntie, when she had the younger ones, the one with the most kids, she was saying how they didn't have an occupational therapist because there's not much of us. To become an occupational therapist, you have to have at least a master's. And unfortunately for us in Hawaii, the jobs are better in the mainland. So me being somebody who's kukanaka, who loves Hawaii and loves our people, I even considered staying in the mainland just because the jobs are so cool there. You can specialize, you can be whatever you want to be. But I chose to come home and I wanted to work for our people. And Mehana, sorry, my dog. Okay, come here then. Okay, she has a dress on. Say hi. Okay, she wants to say hi. She's being a punk, but she's mad because I cut her hair bald and she has to wear a dress. Anyway, so I came home and I wanted to always work with kids, and so in addition to my already skilled nursing 40 plus hours skilled nursing facility job, um, and doTERRA, I decided to pick up my current job as part-time because because I needed kids to have therapy. Like I just needed them to have OT. And I fell in love too, because I fall in love often, my goodness. And so I just kept doing it. I think, Aiko, I remember telling you one time I had 4 jobs, because then I also worked for a summer program with my auntie for Napuano AL. The same for the people, where it was like a 2-week program, I think, and I helped her teach hula. And it was in the morning, so I would go to do that one from like, I can't even remember now, but let's just estimate like 6:30 to 8:30, and then on this day, like for 2 weeks, and then I go to my regular job and come home at 8. And then on the days that I was working with the kids, I would go to that job certain days of the week, and I plug that in. And anyway, so I work now. The part-time job that I was working with for kids is now my full-time job for the state. I work with kids from birth to 3 years old that have developmental delays. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to let my dog out. She's whining. I'll be right back. Mana, you're so embarrassing. Okay, go. That is a human. No, that's how she tells me she has to go she has like bladder issues. Um, she's like 11. Yeah. Anyway, now I lost my train of thought. I work with kids that have all developmental disabilities. A lot of it has to do with autism. My biggest regret, or the thing that I have yet to figure out how to do, is to tell parents about how beneficial doTERRA is, even for the littlest things like teething. And it's not because I don't know, but it's because it's a violation of using my title. And I've tried to do it before. When I was at the nursing home, I used to ask Aiko, like, I have like these patients who are asking me for this. I know exactly what they need and want. They want it, but I don't want to be the person to sell it to them. Like, and it's worse now with the parents, because the babies are so, it's not so simple, but there's specific roller balls for teething, for rash, for everything that we know that it's used for. And I really just want to say, have you ever thought about essential oils? So that's like my biggest struggle for this year. I don't think it's good, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be on my calendar for next year, because hopefully there's other things that happen first. But if anybody has ideas on that, I would love to hear that, because at the end of the day, as much as it is um, not not professional, but a gray area on my professionalism, I still think I could help them better if I guided them to doTERRA. So that's where I struggle. If I'm not helping at my best, then I'm not really, am I helping, So we'll see. That's like my one day to-do list. But also during COVID, so getting to silver helped me find my sense of self. Becoming silver did help financially. Because I lived in Hilo, I had chickens, and I was so grouchy when I moved back here, because it's like concrete and it was stinky, and people in Target were rude, like just like the randomest things. Like I got fights in the parking lot of Target because they tried to take my dad's parking spot, or people in Home Depot would bang my mom, and she has to use the little drive part, and they just bang her. I'm like, okay, I know she's lower than you, but still, have some sense of personal space and others. And so I had a really rough time adjusting it, and then I just missed that lifestyle. But now, 3 years later, I have chickens. I have 15. Don't tell my HOA. But they're about to give me eggs next month. And we have a garden. So the girls, vegetables are new for them. There's definitely something that this auntie is pushing. And so we have them grow their own vegetables. We wash our vegetables. We prep the vegetables. We cook the vegetables. We put it on the plate. We have to eat it. It's so different, yeah, when it's like, okay, I can be a part of all that, but ew, I'm not touching that. Like, no, you just picked it with your bare hands. You can touch it. It's fine. So we have all that here. Um, and we have, what else do we have? Solar. So there are things that has happened financially because I stuck with it. I think Aiko had mentioned before, slow and steady wins the race. Actually, I was just glad I finished. I didn't want to win because I guess another part of the self discovery for me was it was really hard for me to see myself financially okay because I was raised in not necessarily a low income house, but on a budget. My ex husband's parents are very financially well off, and they are nice people to certain people. But when you live with somebody, you see their true colors. And I told myself that I would never be that person. And when I say that person, I mean the person who had so much money that they could think otherwise of anybody else. And so that gap took a long time to get over because I was like, what my ex father in law told me one day. So one of my comfort foods is corned beef and onion, and I like to put furikake and rice and mix it all up. And so I cooked often for my ex in laws, and when I made that, he was like, "What are you cooking? Poor folk food?" And I was like, "Bruh." Like trying to be respectful, because he's my father-in-law at the time, and I was floored by that. I was floored by seeing then like kind of opened my eyes that that's how he treated his family. And I never wanted to be that. And I attributed it to the fact that he brought home so much money. And that was the biggest mistake that I made because I thought that was the reason that he was that way. But actually, that's just who he is. And he's great for so many people, just not for me, because I love my corned beef and onion and my pork and beans and my spam musubi. And even if or when I make enough money to be able to provide food otherwise, I still gonna eat it. I'm still gonna eat the stuff that makes me feel comfortable, and I'm gonna be okay with the fact that I don't always have to eat it. That was a huge struggle, and that one I think, when I was talking about the why, that one hit me the hardest. That one I think took me a year to be able to overcome that it would be okay, that I wasn't going to be the person that he showed me he was, that I was going to be my own person, and that I could still be somebody who, can get dirty and can do whatever, like still enjoy the value of camping, not need a cot or whatever. So, yeah, a lot of self discovery, I guess. Yeah. Oh yeah, Jane. My ex husband. Jamie, poor thing. She knows my ex in laws. Actually, I think you might too, but it's okay. Details. I wish them all. They're so happy now, by the way. And so am I.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kamanu, for being so open with us.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions, please type it in the chat so we can ask. But you shared so much, like your journey with personal development. You shared your why. You shared what silver can do for you and has done for you. And I love how in depth you and vulnerable you are so that we can understand all of that. And I like your thinking process. Like it's so good. Anything specifically that you want to say as far as like giving advice to builders who maybe aren't moving as fast as they want to, or that they don't have the goal of silver at all yet?
I didn't have the goal of silver, but I definitely think it's possible for everyone. Basically, if I can do it, everyone can do it. Because not only was my why affected, but the way I learn is to trial and error. Like I have to do something wrong and then fix it to really hone in. So I always was taking a step forward and a step back, but you're still in motion if you're doing something. So to do something always, make a list. If you can only dedicate 5 minutes out of your day, do something purposeful within that 5 minutes. Do something that's going to get you to tomorrow. And then have your short term goals, have your long term goals, and be specific with them. The SMART goals are really, really valuable into helping you get to where you want to be. And the other fun thing is one of my strengths is ideation for some reason. I was like, really, girl? But um, visualize what you want to be. And then when you do, like when I first started to visualize, I was like, ugh, because I would think, oh, I want like this fancy house, and then I want this kind of fence, and I was like, oh no, change it. It's your dream, it's your vision. You can create it how you want to. Ash had sent out these, what do you call them, wallpapers for your cell phone last Bogo or last something, and I was almost to silver, and I didn't think I was gonna get for it. I was actually not didn't even tell Aiko I wanted to go for it just in case I didn't hit it. Like it wasn't gonna be a big deal until I felt like I needed that extra boost, and then I put that up on my phone. And then I put just the index card on my bathroom mirror. Even the kids could read it, and I looked at it daily. They reminded me, like, look at that silver. I was like, oh, I'm not there yet. Like, let's wait. And so now on my wallpaper is solidify silver, and so always change it because it was stuck there for a while, and I was like, oh, geez, Louise. But to always be in motion, to always go for it,
Okay.
like running the marathon.
Yeah. For builders who aren't moving at a fast pace, what does your schedule look like that you can share with them? And how often do you talk to your mentor and do mentor calls?
Oh, okay. So Aiko has been very gracious to me and lets me do whatever I want. And so she offers always. But if I can't, she's okay with it. I'll check in via text if I can. And so we schedule about once a month. For our team, we have, what do you call that? So I have 3 legs. One leg we have their team meeting one night of the month. Another leg we have their team meeting another night of the month, and then another should be a qualifier, but under my front line because I messed that up because I'm a live and learn kind of person. They have their meeting once a month too. What I've learned that helps is we also have an overall team meeting for everybody to just like check in with their goals. And then, the welcome calls that we do, we have that for everybody. Nobody's ever brought anybody to it, but then when I ask them, like, "Oh, should we cancel this?" and then it's like, "No, keep it." I was like, "Okay," but so maybe it's in the background, maybe it's not. Yeah, Aiko, we need more calls. Sorry. And every time I'm on a call with Aiko or even my team, I have a drink in my hand or I'm en route. I'm not an alky, I promise, but to be this spastic, you need to have a drink sometime. And also, wine is good for your heart. And it's not like you can have a whole bottle in one night because that's too much on your heart. You're supposed to have 1 glass a night. Yeah. Because if you do 1 to 2, that's more than your heart needs. So, just space it out. Although it's often Miller Light now, because I'm that auntie, I turn to Miller Light too. But, you know, space it out, have fun, and you attract the people. I feel like I attracted the people I needed. So, what I'm learning now is to figure out why I needed them, why we needed each other, and to work with our strengths. I have one person on my team, Leah, who she's my go-getter. I know she's gonna do what she's supposed to do. So I rely on her to fuel me that. And she starts my month because she likes the first week meetings. She asked for it, and I'm like, yes. So you find out what those people are for, and then you use that, because Leah gets me to my next week, and my next week is my team team call and welcome call if we have it, and then so that pushes me to the next week. And then the ones who are busy, who also do a million and one things, they filter in. But it's that, so she starts it, she ends it, and together they help me be accountable for where I need to be. If I was missing one of them, it wouldn't be the same. So for those of you who want to do it slowly, find your formula, I guess, that helps you get there. If you need that person to finish off your month, that Leah to finish, find your Leah. Oh, hello, that's gonna be a thing, Leah. I know you're on this call, but find your Leah, find your work, your busy person, and find where you want to fit them, and then everything else just kind of whatever. It all just happens because you're just like, you want to meet their needs, you want to be there for them. Yeah. Did she leave?
That's
Oh,
amazing. We're all gonna find a Leah, like Leah.
yeah.
I'm saying the name wrong, but that's awesome. Uh, so as busy as you are, how are you finding builders? I know is Regina one of your newer ones?
Regina is under Leia. um and actually, through I got to the cool opportunity to have, now that I'm sober, an account manager, and my guy's name is Jim. And I was talking to him about, like, I don't really know how I'm supposed to do this and whatever, and he reminded me what I've already learned but didn't really apply it to the specific moment, is to go within the customers, um, and look at who's consistently using and interested in talking about it. And so what I'm working on now, which is the most interesting situation, is my most potential newest builder. She lives in Japan. She's my Japanese enrollment, and I don't know how to speak English to her all the time. And she definitely doesn't know how to always speak English to me as well, but we try. So I'm working with account management to figure out, like, I asked them, I was like, I don't know how to translate any words in this builder live whatever guide. Like, please help me. And so did you guys know they have those guides in Japan? You just have to ask them, and they have to input the code and everything. So it's strengthening the relationship with them, the ones who are already using, being there for them, and then asking them, like, you're using, you love it, you could make money from it, you're passionate, why not just go for it? So it's that piece to help them bring in the confidence in themselves. Oh yeah, we can buy. Yeah. So I was actually, before COVID, this Japanese enrollment of mine, is she's a dancer. My uncle's hello in Japan. So he was bringing oils to her because they don't have peppermint beadlets, by the way, and or on guard beadlets, and she was sending oils to me. So it's beautiful. And then what happened? She bought Vogo last month. It cost us $30 something to get her 2 oils, and she got it in a month and a half. We thought it was lost, but that was through snail mail. And so she didn't want to buy Vogo this month for obvious reasons. But I cannot wait for Brit to, and Hawaiian Air and COVID and everything, like everybody else. But that will be fun when she can come back and I can go back.
Okay, so we have 3 minutes left. Anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to let Kamanu give us her last pieces of advice or anything else that she wants to share with all of you.
Biggest thing I learned is, don't be afraid to let your crazy out. um, and and I was maybe hesitant to do that because I didn't know how uncontrollable I would be. Although I'm like less than 5 feet, I'm one of those, like, how like pit bulls have like the most scrappiest spark. That could be me in certain ways. But then guess what? Like, as crazy as I can be, there's an oil for that. So now I'm more okay with letting my craziness go and learning to say no. I've learned to do that this year because I have to. Corona forced me to say no. If it's anything, it was good for me in that sense, but it's also good for business to not always be that person who, oh yeah, I could do that. Let me just pencil you in. But to be the person who says, no, I think you can do that part. You got that. I have confidence in you. I can help you get there. And then I'm going to come do this. So yeah.
Thank you.